It was a typical day for the Martin family as they drove through the countryside when a stray dog suddenly started chasing their car. Intrigued and concerned, they slowed down, and the dog, panting and determined, didn't give up his chase. The family pulled over and cautiously approached the dog. What they would discover about the special animal left them utterly speechless. The two children of the Martins family were immediately falling head over heels in love with the animal. But the do was not making it even easy for them to show him any affection. Even though the tiny animal was clearly exhausted from the chase, it still managed to run away a bit when anybody made an approach to it. But always in the same direction. Father Sebastian was now left with a decision to make. It would be easiest for him to just get his family back in the car and leave this elusive dog behind. They knew nothing about the animal. It did not have a collar or anything, but there was still a chance he was with somebody in the area, and maybe he had just gotten lost. Stray dogs were relatively rare in this area as well. But Sebastian realized that his children would never allow him to leave this dog behind. As so, he spent some time watching what the animal was doing exactly and came up with a plan of how to capture it. Because it kept trying to flee in the same direction, he got the feeling that the dog wanted to maybe have them follow him. But he had no idea where the dog would lead him and how long that would take. He decided that following the dog was not an option. Maybe they could come back later when they had more time, but they were already behind on schedule and it was getting late. He just wanted to get home as soon as possible. And so, Sebastian positioned himself near the path the dog kept using to flee, and when one of his kids went after the animal again, he was driven right into Sebastian's arms. The animal was struggling to get out of his grip, but it was far too tired to put up any kind of real fight. And so, Sebastian quickly felt the animal surrender to him. He put the dog in the back of their car with the kids and quickly went ahead to continue his journey. The dog did not resist anymore, but was doing everything to look out the back window and was clearly crying. The children in the back seat were trying anything to cheer up the sad animal, but nothing seemed to be working. Sebastian started to doubt his decision to take this animal with him more and more, but he was already too deep into this now. But he did need a plan for the animal, as he was not planning to adopt the puppy permanently. A dog simply would not fit into their lifestyle, he figured. So before they got home, Sebastian had decided that his first course of action was going to be getting the dog to the vet the very next day. He would pay for a standard checkup of some kind and also talk to the vet about the situation and his best course of action, which he suspected would be bringing the puppy to a shelter. And at that time, Sebastian was still perfectly okay with that. At home, they quickly created a makeshift bed for the puppy, and they got ready to go to bed themselves. It was already very late, and the kids needed to go to school tomorrow. But sleeping would end up being a lot more tricky than they had anticipated. The puppy did not have a quiet night, as the animal was softly howling and crying all throughout the night. Sebastian tried everything to keep the animal quiet. He gave it food and water and even allowed it to sleep with them in the room and the bed. But nothing worked. Eventually, he had no other choice but to move the puppy into the garage where they would not hear the crying. He felt bad about having to do this, but he needed some rest, and the hours were quickly ticking away. The next morning, Sebastian had decided that whatever the vet would say, this could not continue for another night. He needed to deal with this dog today and needed to get this out of the house before nighttime. And luckily, Sebastian did not have to wait long for his appointment, as the vet had room in his agenda for that very morning. The Martins arrived at the veterinary clinic with the stray dog that had chased their car with such desperation. The clinic was quiet, with the early morning sun casting a soft glow through the windows. As they stepped inside, the vet greeted them warmly, sensing the urgency in their visit. The dog, sensing a safe space, calmed slightly but remained alert, its eyes following every move. The vet's hands moved skillfully over the dog, checking for any signs of injury or distress. Despite its initial unease, the dog allowed the examination, its trust in the humans around it growing. The vet remarked on its good physical condition, a contrast to the worry etched on the martins' faces. Physically, he's fine, the vet confirmed, but his behaviour suggests something else is at play. Sebastian recounted their encounter with the dog, its persistent chase, and its refusal to be comforted or leave their side. The vet listened intently, nodding. "Let's see if he's microchipped," she suggested, bringing out a scanner. The beep of the scanner was a hopeful sound in the quiet room. Maybe this would provide the answers they desperately sought. The scanner beeped affirmatively, revealing the presence of a microchip. The martins leaned in, anticipation building. The vet's computer hummed as it searched the database. "There's a chip," she announced, "but no registered owner, just an address." The room was filled with a mix of relief and new questions. Who did the dog belong to? What was the story behind the address? The address on the chip pointed to a nearby location, one unfamiliar to the martins. Sebastian felt a mix of concern and curiosity stir within him. "This could be a lead," he mused aloud. The vet offered a supportive smile. "It might just be the next step in understanding why he chose you," she said. Armed with this new clue, Sebastian knew what they had to do next. After the vet visit, Sebastian sat with his laptop, typing in the mysterious address. Google Maps loaded and he clicked on Street View. The screen displayed a winding road leading to a house shrouded in overgrowth. Its isolation was stark, setting a grim backdrop for their quest. The kids leaned in, their excitement tinged with a hint of fear at the adventure that lay ahead. The house on the screen looked untouched by time, but not in a way that spoke of preservation. Instead, it suggested neglect. Windows were boarded, and the garden was a jungle of weeds. "Looks like no one's been there for years," Sebastian murmured, the reality of the task ahead settling in. The children's faces mirrored his concern, the initial thrill fading into apprehension. Staring at the decrepit structure on the screen, Sebastian felt a knot of doubt in his stomach. What could a place like this hide? Why had the dog led them to an address linked to such desolation? The possibilities swirled in his mind, each more unsettling than the last. He shook his head, trying to dispel the growing sense of unease. Decision made, Sebastian stood, determination in his eyes. "We need to see this through," he declared. The family nodded, understanding the weight of his words. Preparations began. Flashlights, a first aid kit, and some food and water were packed. They were setting off not just to explore a place, but to possibly unearth a story long hidden by time and neglect. The car journey was silent, each mile bringing them closer to the unknown. The GPS announced their impending arrival, and the once familiar countryside gave way to the unfamiliar. Sebastian's grip on the steering wheel tightened, a tangible sign of his resolve. Glances exchanged between the family conveyed a mix of fear and anticipation. The adventure they had embarked on was now very real. As the car neared the address, the atmosphere inside grew heavy. Sebastian's thoughts raced, weaving through the what-ifs and maybes of their mission. Beside him, the children's usual chatter was replaced by quiet anticipation, their eyes wide as they neared their destination. The dog, sensing the change, whined softly, its restlessness a mirror to their own unease. The car rolled to a stop before the house, its silhouette even more foreboding up close. The reality of the situation pressed down on Sebastian's shoulders, a weight made heavier by the sight of the dilapidated structure before them. Yet, as he looked at his family and the eager dog, his determination solidified. This was more than curiosity. It was a quest for answers. As they approached the house, the dog's demeanor shifted. With every step closer, its tail wagged more vigorously, its ears perked up in alert. It was as if the animal remembered this place, pulling on its leash with a newfound energy. Sebastian watched, the dog's actions reinforcing his decision to press on. This wasn't just a random detour, it was meant to be. Standing before the house, its state of neglect was undeniable. The air was thick with the scent of mold and decay, the garden overrun with wild foliage. Sebastian took a deep breath, trying to steel himself against the overwhelming sense of abandonment that emanated from the building. It stood as a monument to neglect, yet it beckoned them closer with its silent stories. With a nod to his family, Sebastian took the first step towards the house. It was a gesture of courage, a signal that they were crossing a threshold into the unknown. Despite his heart pounding with apprehension, the need to uncover the truth drove him forward. The dog, sensing the shift, led the way with an eagerness that seemed to say, "Follow me." The dog, now at the lead, tugged with an urgency that surprised Sebastian. Its excitement was palpable, tail wagging as it approached the dilapidated porch. The stark contrast between the dog's vivacity and the house's somber quietude hinted at a deep, unspoken connection. This wasn't just an exploration. It was a reunion, the dog clearly recognizing its surroundings. Hand on the door, Sebastian felt the weight of the moment. Pushing open the creaking barrier, he stepped into the dim interior, the dog eagerly bounding ahead. They were not just entering a building, they were crossing into the realm of its past, bridging the gap between what was and what is. The air inside held a stillness, a paused breath waiting to be released. "Hello?" Sebastian's voice echoed off the walls, met only by silence. The lack of response deepened the enigma of the house. Each call for anyone present went unanswered, the silence a heavy blanket that seemed to muffle their intrusion. The quiet was unsettling, amplifying their every step and breath in the dust-laden air, hinting at secrets yet to be uncovered. Frustrated by locked doors, the dog led them around to the back, its nose sniffing out a small, almost hidden entrance. It was a doggy door, forgotten and overgrown. With a mix of admiration for the dog's insistence and a surge of resolve, Sebastian cleared the way, realizing the importance of this entry not just as a breach, but as a guided invitation from the dog, desperate to return to what it once knew. Once inside, they were enveloped by the remnants of a once-lived life. Dust motes danced in the few beams of light that penetrated the boarded windows, illuminating scenes of abandonment. The furniture was draped in sheets, and personal belongings lay scattered as if waiting for their owners to return. Stepping deeper into the house, they moved through a tangible silence, each room offering more questions than answers. With each step, the dog's barks filled the air, resonating with a familiarity that seemed to breathe life into the silent house. Sebastian followed, watching as the dog navigated the hallways with a certainty that spoke of memories etched within. The echoes of a life once vibrant within these walls guided them, the dog's loyalty to this place and its past a beacon in the gloom. Their path was obstructed by doors that refused to open, each one a barrier not just to the secrets of the house, but to understanding the dog's urgent need to return. Sebastian's attempts to force them open were met with resistance, each unyielding lock a reminder of the distance between the present and the hidden stories of the past. It was a physical and emotional impasse, demanding patience and resolve. In an unexpected burst of energy, the dog lunged forward, the leash snapping from Sebastian's grasp. The sudden release sent Sebastian stumbling, a momentary chaos breaking the somber exploration. The dog's determination to lead, to show, to reveal was palpable, its actions a mix of desperation and purpose, pulling them further into the mystery of the house. Sebastian, recovering from his fall, felt a renewed sense of purpose. The dog's insistence, its unspoken plea through actions, resonated with him. Standing up, dusting off, he realized the gravity of their situation not just as an intrusion into a forgotten space, but as a journey towards understanding. With a nod to the dog, now waiting impatiently, Sebastian reaffirmed his commitment to follow wherever it led. They moved deeper into the house, drawn by distant, indistinct noises. Each step took them further from the world outside and deeper into the heart of the mystery. The sounds grew clearer, a promise of answers lying just beyond the next turn, in the heart of the house's neglected domain. With every room they passed, the anticipation of uncovering the truth grew, pulling them inexorably forward. With a determined push, Sebastian managed to break open a stubborn door, crossing into the core of the house. This breakthrough, both literal and symbolic, marked their entry into a space untouched for years. The air was thick with the weight of untold stories, each waiting to be discovered. The dog, ever the guide, nudged them forward, its eagerness a contrast to the stillness that surrounded them. The rooms they entered were draped in layers of dust, each surface telling a story of years passed without a human touch. The peeling wallpaper, the faded photographs, and the furniture covered in sheets whispered tales of abandonment. In the silence, the echoes of the house's former life seemed to reach out, a poignant reminder of what once was and what had been lost to time. Navigating through the house, Sebastian and the children uncovered small tokens of the past: a worn toy under a chair, a set of keys hanging by the door, a diary filled with faded entries. Each discovery was a piece of the puzzle, hinting at the lives intertwined with the house. With each clue, they pieced together a narrative, inching closer to the heart of the mystery that led them here. A soft, distant noise broke the heavy silence, drawing their attention upward. The sound, unclear yet insistent, seemed to call them, promising answers hidden in the upper reaches of the house. Sebastian felt a mix of apprehension and curiosity as he led the way. The dog's ears perked in recognition of the sound. It was a call they couldn't ignore, beckoning them to uncover what lay hidden. The staircase creaked under their weight, each step a testament to the passage of time and neglect. As they ascended, the air grew denser with the anticipation of what awaited. This climb was more than a physical ascent. It was a journey deeper into the enigma of the house and its secrets. With each step, they moved closer to the unknown, braced for the revelations that lay ahead. Reaching the top of the stairs, Sebastian felt the shift in the air, the space beyond the landing charged with the promise of answers. Each step taken in the house mirrored his inner journey towards understanding, not just of the house's secrets, but of the invisible threads that connect us to places and their stories. The dog paused, sensing the significance of the moment as they stood on the brink of discovery. The hallway revealed signs of recent presence: a makeshift bed, a lantern still holding oil, and books piled in corners. These remnants painted a picture of someone clinging to existence within these walls, their isolation palpable in the careful arrangement of their few possessions. It was a stark reminder of the human capacity for endurance, the space echoing with the echoes of a solitary life. Scattered among the personal effects, Sebastian found medication bottles, their labels faded, but the urgency of their contents still clear. Nearby, a glass of water, half full, and a plate with crumbs suggested a life sustained on the barest of necessities. These silent witnesses spoke volumes of the inhabitants' struggles, laying bare the desperation that had driven them to seek refuge in such a forsaken place. A faint sound interrupted the heavy silence, a cough from behind a nearby door. The sound, human and raw, pulled at Sebastian's heart, guiding him with a mix of dread and determination toward its source. The dog too reacted, its ears perking up, its body tense with anticipation. Together they moved, drawn by the undeniable proof of life, to the heart of the house's mystery. Sebastian stood before the door, the source of the coughs just beyond its weathered surface. His hand hovered over the knob, hesitating as the gravity of the moment settled upon him. This door was more than a barrier. It was a gateway to the culmination of their journey, behind which lay the answers they sought. Taking a deep breath, he turned the handle, ready to face whatever lay beyond. When Sebastian opened the door, an elderly man, frail and bewildered, looked up. The connection between past and present was immediate, the man's eyes reflecting stories untold, his presence a living link to the house's hidden history. The room, sparse and dimly lit, held the weight of solitude, now pierced by the intrusion of light and life. The dog, upon seeing the man, burst into a display of unbridled joy, its tail wagging furiously as it rushed to his side. The man's face, worn and lined with age, softened into a smile, his arms opening to welcome his long-lost friend. This reunion, charged with emotion, spoke volumes of their bond, a testament to loyalty that had endured through absence and adversity. Faced with the man's evident frailty, Sebastian felt a surge of resolve. The decision to help was instantaneous, a reflection of his journey from curiosity to compassion. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, he gently helped the man to his feet, his actions fueled by a newfound empathy. This moment marked a pivotal point in Sebastian's character, a step towards a greater understanding of human fragility and resilience. With the man carefully settled in the car, Sebastian drove towards the hospital, the dog nestled close by its owner's side. This journey, though short in distance, was significant, marking a transition from uncertainty to action. The quiet solidarity within the car spoke of shared purpose, each mile bringing them closer to hope and the possibility of healing. In the sterile brightness of the hospital waiting room, Sebastian sat, the weight of the moment pressing down. The clock ticked, each second elongated by anticipation and concern. Surrounded by the hum of activity, his thoughts were with the man now in the care of strangers, his hope mingled with worry. This wait was not passive, it was a vigil, a testament to the impact of their unexpected connection. The doctor emerged with news that the surgery was a success. Relief washed over Sebastian, a bright spot in the tumult of emotions he'd experienced. This moment marked a significant shift in the narrative, turning the tide towards hope. The skill of the surgeon had not only saved a life, but had also opened the door to new possibilities, changing the course of their story. As Sebastian sat in the quiet of the waiting room, the events of the night replayed in his mind. He pondered the chain of events that led them here, realizing the profound impact of his decision to help. This reflection was a moment of introspection, understanding that actions, big or small, can ripple through lives, altering paths and intertwining destinies. The news of the man's steady recovery was like a new dawn breaking over a long, dark night. For Sebastian, the children, and especially the dog, this marked the beginning of new opportunities. It wasn't just about the recovery of the man, but about the healing of broken pasts and the hopeful prospects of shared futures. When the old man expressed his gratitude to Sebastian and the dog, his words were simple but profound. This gratitude went beyond mere thanks. It was a recognition of the kindness and connection that had brought them together. In this moment, the themes of compassion and human bonds were underscored, highlighting the undeniable power of empathy in bridging divides. The story of the man and the dog, reunited through Sebastian's intervention, illuminated the enduring power of companionship. It was a testament to the dog's unwavering loyalty and the instinct to protect and seek help. This narrative thread not only showcased the depth of their bond, but also reflected on the broader theme of how relationships, in their purest form, can indeed save lives. As the old man recounted his journey, a tale of hardship and resilience unfolded. He spoke of days filled with uncertainty and nights plagued by loneliness, but his resolve never wavered, especially when it came to the well-being of his dog. His story, marked by the lengths he would go to protect his companion, shed light on a bond that had weathered the storms of life. The narrative of the man's life was a testament to human strength and the capacity for sacrifice. Through his words, Sebastian and the children glimpsed the reality of survival against the odds. It was a story not just of enduring life's harshness, but of the sacrifices made in the name of love and loyalty, illuminating the profound impact of resilience. The man's recounting of events highlighted the dog's unwavering determination to seek help when it was most needed. This loyalty, an instinctive drive to protect and find aid, stood as a beacon of hope. The dog's actions, driven by an unspoken bond, showcased a level of commitment that resonated deeply with Sebastian, offering a poignant reminder of the power of loyalty. Reflecting on the sequence of events, Sebastian recognized his role not as coincidence, but as destiny. His decision to follow the dog, to open the door, had led them to this moment of hope and new beginnings. This intersection of lives, once running parallel in their solitude, had converged at a point where hope was needed most, suggesting that perhaps some paths are meant to cross. In the quiet of the hospital room, as the old man shared his hopes and gratitude, a new chapter seemed to dawn for all involved. Sebastian, moved by the story and the bond he had witnessed, felt a deep commitment to supporting this newfound family. The conversation, filled with optimism, hinted at a future where their lives would continue to intertwine, promising brighter days ahead, nurtured by the bonds forged in unexpected circumstances. In the quiet of the room, the old man shared how his dog had left, desperate to find help. This act, driven by pure loyalty, was a plea for his owner's life. The dog's frantic actions, once mysterious, now unfolded as a deliberate attempt to save the one he loved. This revelation illuminated the depth of their bond, showcasing the dog's unwavering commitment. As the story unfolded, the profound connection between the man and his dog became crystal clear. Their relationship, built on years of companionship, was deeper than Sebastian had ever imagined. It was a bond forged in silence, but as strong as steel, a mutual understanding and love that required no words, only felt in the heart. Hearing the man's tale, Sebastian's perspective shifted. The dog's behaviour, previously puzzling, now made perfect sense. It wasn't just a stray dog chasing a car, it was a loyal friend on a mission to save his owner. This understanding brought a profound realization about the lengths to which loyalty and love can drive us, changing Sebastian's view of the bond between humans and their pets. Armed with this new understanding, Sebastian felt a renewed sense of purpose. The dog's determination had not only saved his owner, but also taught Sebastian a valuable lesson about responsibility and compassion. This insight provided him with clarity and a mission: to ensure the well-being of the man and his dog, a commitment that now felt as personal as it was noble. The conversation with the old man concluded with a hopeful outlook on the future. Sebastian, now deeply committed to aiding the man and his dog, envisioned a path filled with support and care. This final page marked not an end, but a beginning, a promise of new adventures and the chance to make a lasting difference in the lives of two remarkable beings, united by fate and bonded by a shared journey.